friends, and of course the MC for the evening. I'm Jenny. I'm invited here by Fernando Young and Beyond. I've known them for many years, and thank you very much for the opportunity for me to do a short sharing, half an hour. So what I'm doing tonight is I won't be able to give you a full view of what effective leadership is, but an overview of what it is because of only half an hour time spent. So the coverage will be on introduction and what are the characteristic traits of a good leader, and also, you know, leaders today, they face challenges, and what kind of problems do they have and how do we solve? Of course there are many problems, but I'm only going to list out 5 problems today. And just now, the MC already mentioned my profile. So effective leadership's introduction is as mentioned, and the important thing is how to lead others. Oops. Leadership, it is important, it is crucial in organizations, be it clubs or non-profit organizations. We have a lot, like MCYS, government bodies, and so on. And the other thing is, in all organizations, there will have leaders like department head, CEO or COO, whatever the titles may be. And it's important to have them holding these positions to manage the organizations in the various departments. A good leader, though, runs successfully in any organization, but importantly, very likely, the characteristics that matters. And what I always think is trust is very important, integrity is another area, decision making, make decisions, because the leader has to make decisions, and I'll give some examples, real life examples later on. And again we say, not only we learn how to speak well, we also have to learn how to listen well, without interrupting and giving the other party a chance to say his or her piece. And I also mentioned about the various variety of, I'm not so used to this one. Where is the pointer? Is this the one?
Yes.
Okay. The variety of challenges, and earlier I mentioned I will list up 5 and also the solutions given. Therefore, effective leaders know how to lead others. The area that I always focus on, and I'm a strong proponent, is a process approach, step by step. What tonight we are going to take away is one of the essential characteristics or traits of a good leader. Secondly, why is it important to have effective leaders? Just now you mentioned, if leaders are no good, you know what will be the net result? Failures in business. That I just received the WhatsApp that the big box, the big organization in Jurong goes bankrupt. Why? Because it could be due owing to the leadership, the mismanagement of the business, and that resulted in wrapping up the business. The problems faced today and how to go about resolving it, and there will be 8 process steps how to lead others effectively. Take a picture. Have you heard of this acronym by MBWA? Management by? Walking around. So please take a few minutes, study the pictures. Imagine yourself. This is a real life example that happened in Thailand, and it's a TV manufacturing company. If you see the assembly line, everybody is so busy at work. And then this is the aging line. Aging line is the stress test. You know, after the TVs were produced, they have to put aside for stress test, meaning switch on for hours and hours, 24 hours or 48 hours to see how long the TV can last. Because we watch TV, sometimes when we watch movies, it can last for many hours. So this is a stress test area. And then you could see the testing line. After everything is done, the QC will come in later on. Now, the picture here shows the general manager got his business manager along, and he wanted to talk to the operations manager as well as the technical lead. Then as both of them walk around the factory, see, it was very quiet, besides those girls working. He said, what's going on? Something smelled fishy. So then he was angry because being a GM, wow, there's no life on the shop floor, what's happening? See, my gosh. So question here is, I'd like to put forth to you, ladies and gentlemen, if you're the manager, doing a management by walking around, what is your impression of the workplace activities? Any idea?
Looks fine. Looks fine.
Looks fine, good.
Yeah, it's right, it's perfectly fine.
Perfectly fine.
Seriousness.
Seriousness. The girls are working very seriously. Alright?
No fun.
No fun. Okay. What else? What about some controversial?
GM don't know the business.
GM don't know the business? Okay, take it.
I would say robots are doing the work.
Need robots.
No, I mean robots.
Oh, robots are doing the work.
Okay, I would say that when the GM is walking around, because if, first of all, maybe the staff look at, oh, GM is coming, so everybody will feel very stressed. And then maybe the GM can also like start talking, like chit-chat, like
A small, very good.
Yeah.
You notice something, besides the assembly girls, what's missing? Which category of the staff missing?
Supervisors.
Okay?
Line supervisors.
Right, supervisors missing. Some more, very good. I brought some oranges later, which can share.
The tea lady.
The tea lady. Alright, what happened? This picture showed us the GM noticed something is very bad. So he, accompanied by the business manager, walked to the meeting room. Both of them walked. And they stopped short just outside the meeting room to watch. So walking towards the meeting room, they didn't go in, they just stood outside, and they saw a group of people there so busy arguing, trying to solve problems, and then packed with, this lady is a quality control lady. She was leading the meeting proper, and you could see that the board is so busy. A lot of things were discussed. At one stage, she lost control of the meeting. People were arguing, and there was a blame game. You are wrong, you are wrong, I am right. You know something? It was quite bad, chaotic. So, among these people, just now we saw the picture, no supervisors around, no managers around, and production staff. Meanwhile, on the opposite side, you're correct, it was so quiet and peaceful. Now, what's next? So, as an effective manager, the takeaway would be, you observe just now, you went to the factory, you see, oh, it was very quiet, okay, something's wrong. So, find out what's happening. Why is it quiet? We already discussed. Engage, listen and get feedback. Step in, listen to them and listen to see what were the issues. Could it be due to the process issue or quality issue of the product or workmanship or any others, and then resolve the problem. So this is what management is important to have, go to the ground level and look at things, observation. Alright, what is an effective leader? Effective leaders means you lead a diverse group of people, especially in Singapore today. We have different nationalities all over the world working in Singapore. I work in chartered semiconductor at one point, and we have 35 different races, nationalities, 35, Koreans, Japanese, and so on. So they brought along with them different cultures. And we have to see how we can fit in. Because some, they don't talk, they are afraid because the English is not so strong. And some, they want to talk too much, but the emphasis is so we have to manage them well. But as leaders, again, listening is very important, and to help them to work towards a common goal in order to achieve the company's objective. Oops. Okay. Next thing is, inspires and empower people is very important, and to harness the full potential of the people to reach greater heights, and also for organization success growth. Alright, character traits, self-awareness, know your strengths and weaknesses. I was also working in National Semiconductor. We have a CEO. He graduated in mathematics, very brilliant. Numbers are at fingertips. You cannot fool him with numbers. Then what happened? But he does not need to be clever in everything or know everything. So what he did, very smart man, I always appreciate him. He would hire smart people, intelligent people, hardworking people, and he would reward them very well. In the 1990s, you know, when the increment, you can just give one review, one increment is 1,000, 1,005. That was a lot, isn't it, during those days? But he just gave. Because the people worked very hard for him, and he was very successful. And every year our bonus is something like 6 to 9 months.
Wow.
Yeah, that was our bonus.
Wow.
Yeah. So his strength is, as I said, a leader doesn't need to know everything, but get the right people to work for him. And his weakness is, he would go to the, that was a very good example, he would go to the ground, go to the production floor, every morning at 7:30, although we start work at 8 o'clock. He will management by walking around, he will see this and that, and then during the staff meeting, he will ask his people. Or at times he was very angry because there are certain things not done, and he would scold the department head. Because the department head was trying to, I would use the word BS, okay, the way through. He said, don't give me that. I give you a chance, you better do your walk around. In the next meeting, I don't want to hear all those nonsense. So it's something to do with that. Decision making, fast, confident decision making. Again, there was an example. You know, in Toa Payoh, we have 6 buildings. So we started to build another building because in anticipation of new business coming in, semiconductor. And unfortunately, the economic downturn in 1998, if you all remember, there was also the financial crisis. Wow, things almost come to a standstill. No, the order was very low, and everybody pointed a finger at him. Why wasted so much money on the building? You make a wrong decision. Yeah, he just smiled. He said, well, at least I made a decision. Right, good. Then, 3 years later, business came back. And then, the building, the production line was all ready to absorb as much business as possible. That's why we got another 9 months bonus, some got 12 months bonus. Yeah, so decision making is important. Sometimes you never know what will happen, but at least you make a decision. So I really respect this guy. Fairness, no favoritism. Leaders should not favor anybody. Be fair to all your teammates or your subordinates and follow policies. It's important. Policies are guidelines for the organization to run appropriately. Enthusiasm, show interest, and hands-on. When you say hands-on, not necessarily you must do the job, but at least you walk around and find out things. Better still at fingertips. Integrity. Oh, I respect this word. Respect is earned and not demanded. So, again, this integrity sometimes in our social life, I came across last year, but there was an article written, and so that guy was trying to, no names mentioned, that guy was trying to make peace and then change the whole article facts, I would say. So whatever he started to do, he was trying to be, to make his friend look good. But that was no good, because in my eyes, that person has integrity problem. So You have to carry yourself, like you say, your brand, you have to carry yourself well. Only what you need to do is to make one mistake, and that's it. No one will give you the chance. Then make promise, walk the talk. Knowledge is important. Know the business, read out a lot, and find out, especially employees, so know them well. Innovations. In today's world, there are so many changes, and it's so fast as our handphone. Now Galaxy, Samsung Galaxy 10, 10 Plus, and keep on moving. So you have to keep up with time. Then spot opportunities for businessmen. You have to see, for example, like Steve Jobs, his vision was so good, he looked ahead. And then he was so much better than Motorola during that point. So there was a challenge for him. And there's quite some story about Gil Miller taking over Apple. Gil Miller was also our CEO at one point. Hi, come in. No worry, come in. Hi.
Oh, where did you guys come from?
Yeah.
I need to see the back also. Let's see the back.
Alright. Then the last one is perseverance. Endurance. Be able to endure. Importance of effective leadership. Effective leaders make things happen, which is true. And secondly is influencing the behavior of their subordinates. How you inspire, how you influence them. Thirdly is the inspiration, especially good for inspiring competent individuals to do better and then to develop them so that they can move up. And help in introducing changes because of the changing environments day in, day out. Okay? Next one, what are the problems? Now, I mentioned earlier on, I'm going to mention only 5, although there are far more than 5. First one is failure to communicate. Communicate what business? Yes, and the other one is employees are not persuaded. When they're told to do, they're quite reluctant because they're not connected to what is the goal that the top needs, and lack of commitment and effort. Okay, I was hired as an HR manager in KLA Tanker, a high-tech equipment company, multi-billion-dollar company. And why I was hired, because there was a mass resignation. The engineers and the lead engineers, managers all just left. And it's so difficult to train them because in that job per se, different equipment needs different talent, different training. So each training takes 6 months in the US. It's in LA, Los Angeles. So because of the mismanagement of the former HR manager, the group had an argument, so they just quit. It was disastrous because when they quit, they cannot meet the customer's demand. Machine was down. No one was there because there are so specialized jobs in each machine. Oh my God. Then they didn't know what to do. First thing that when I went in, I asked them, how was your engineers being trained? Oh, each one has one product. Each one has one product. And I said, only one product? So if this guy resigns, so what happened? We don't know what to do. Oh my. I say, okay, from now on, my strategy is I will rotate. One person must steal 3 products. One person must steal 3. Of course, investment comes in, the budget comes in. You have to stay in the US 6 months. You have to provide airfare, hotel, and everything. So, but then it's worth it in the long run because you're looking into the future. Right. So this is where, and when they received training, they also felt good. You know why? Because if one product dies or obsolete, at least they have another product to live on. So the job is not at stake at all. So this is something that is a win-win for both areas, for the company as well as for the employees. Then lack of accountability. Major tasks or activities are delayed. If you don't communicate, you don't tell them what, then there are so many things went wrong, and then there is no record. We call it the performance no scoreboard to measure, monitor how is the progress going on. So lack of accountability, everybody push. It's not my job, it's not my responsibility, I'm not accountable for it. So a lot of hygiene during that point in time. Fear of firing, this is the worst. And it happens in, I think, quite many organizations. Because I know him personally, Charles. I like Charles. I brought Charles into my organization.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And Charles, because of the relationship, close friends, I hired him. But when things turned sour, turned bad, business was bad, and we have to let go some of the employees. And unfortunately, someone up there said Charles' salary, Charles is overpaid. So I have no choice, but I don't know what to do. Oh, I try not to touch Charles. So this is what you say. Sometimes nepotism and all this comes into play. It's very difficult because you're so afraid to fire your close ones. So you have to be more pragmatic, business and objective also about it. The other one, lack of awareness. Awareness means we do not know anything that goes wrong, did not embrace change. Again, in chartered semiconductor that I work, first thing when I went in, I asked the operators, do you know who is your #1 man in your plant? Because we have 6 plants. Chartered has 6 plants. So I said, we don't know. Do you know his name? We don't know. #1 man, big boss up there. Don't know. Oh, he's a tiger. Because he's very fierce, not to the girls, but to his immediate subordinate. They don't do a job, he will scream at them, bang the table and everything. So I was quite sad. I said, oh, then I need to do something. So I started the plan, have a coffee session. We have about close to 3,000 employees in the plant. Just one plant, 3,000. And I say, okay, I asked the CEO, I know you're a very busy man. Can I have 1 hour of your time every week?
No.
Oh. Yeah, that's exactly what I said. That was exactly what I said. I said, well, I'm here to help you. If you can't allocate the time for me to help you, then I'm sorry, I can't help you to improve the motivation part of your employees. Do you know they don't know you? They call you Tiger. Me, Tiger? I said, exactly. I said, okay, Jenny, do what you want. So from 2, immediately after lunch, 2 to 3, every week. So we finished the whole cycle of 3,000 employees. Now everybody knows it. And I said, not good enough. When you have your weekly meeting or weekly meeting with your subordinates, the department heads, you also must get them to have their department meeting so that they know what's going on. Then, the awareness part is very important for business. Lack of alignment. Employees unable to actually say with the department goals. So these are some of the areas where problems always arise. Now, let's go into the problem solution part. So what you need to do if failure on communication, set up a communication, we call it a structured communication system. That's important, like what I did is the coffee session. On top of it, another area in KLA Tencom, because our headquarters is in San Jose and we caters in the US. So every time they have video conferencing and so on, we don't know what's going on. I said, that's bad. So when the COO came to Singapore, first thing I marched to him. I say, Mr. So-and-so, we need you to come every quarter to hold an all-employees meeting. Because I know the local president, his language is not so fluent because he's a foreigner in Asia. And he tried not to meet the people, tried not to have communication session. So not to make him feel bad. So I asked the COO, you have to share with us how's business in the whole, in KT as a whole, we need to understand. So he did that. And later on, by and large, we improved in our businesses. And so again, about 6 months bonus and plus quarterly bonus. Okay, so that was very important. Lack of accountability. If you build a systems, you have a record on what's going on, how to do it. So everybody is responsible for what. A meeting, you have the monthly meeting, that you have to do this, Charles, you are responsible for this, and then we perhaps tell us about the budget, the accounts part, and the CEO will just listen and scold us. Okay. Fear of firing. This is important. Now, as company grows, people to upgrade skills, and leaders must make tough decisions. If you have to let go, you have to let go. And if you have to transfer, you have to transfer. As an HR manager, what I did is I walk around every morning. We start at 8, and I noticed we have a canteen right upstairs. Some people, they don't work so much. They spend a lot of time in the canteen, chit-chat, a lot of them. So I will take note, have a book, take note. When it comes to review, and some work very hard, I will observe. When it comes to review, I have a part to play. I can recommend, I can say no, object. And I even can recommend that guy to be promoted to be director. So HR is very powerful. It's true.
Powerful woman.
Very powerful. You can do the job. Yeah. So it is important that you make decision, you transfer or you hire, and then increment also. Same thing for, we have shares. KT has shares. So shares, one share is about 45 US or 50 US dollars. So we will also allocate. You know how we do. Jenny, who do you pay? So I will have the record. So much. Isn't it great? That's why I love to work. Lack of awareness. Any need to improve operating process? See, the prime movers is change yourself. Being a leader, you have to reflect. Where are your areas? Don't always. Yeah, yesterday I was at Bishan Toastmasters Club. I was doing a talk also on something else, and there was this guy who did the pathway. Level 5 development, leadership development. He said something like, a leader who knows everything knows nothing. And he gave an example of a lady who got promoted from rank and file. She knows everything at fingertips. So when she was at the helm and had a meeting with all the big shots, then asked them to do reports. Then when she read the report, she just, messed it up and then threw it in the dustbin. So when people saw her, said, why are you doing this? Well, I know this, so don't need to have all this. So from there, people start reframing. Since you know everything, why should I say something? Why should I help you? Yeah. That was the truth, and he got it from his experience. So change yourself. So be a servant leader. Don't take too much pride. Humility is the word. Be humble and understand their needs and caring. And trust is very important. Change others. Influence attitude. Sometimes it's difficult to change others, but you can guide. You can get them. Lack of alignment. If you have the record monitoring or roadmap monitoring, then department goals and objectives are clearly identified, clearly communicated, then I think things will work well. Okay. So far, any questions? Just move on. Now, how to lead others? So this is an 8-step process. So first one, what do you actually do? How do you lead? You lead by defining the task. What task are we going to do today? And the next thing is, you must plan. I always like planning. I spend a lot of time planning. Even for these few slides, it took me about a week to plan and think and do research. A lot. And then how do you really lead the people, brief them, explain to them, and also controlling. Managers or effective leaders, we go back to basics. POLC. Planning, leading, organizing, and controlling. POLC, that's the basic management principle. Right. Then the next one, how do we build an effective team? You have to motivate them. Help them to work well and organize. How much the appraisal period? And you have to lead by example. Show them important. Now say, in the team, if you are the leader, let's say, we team, I lead the team by you work. That's not the way. You should also involve in the whole process. Conclusion, effective leadership involves managing people, inspiring and empowering them, and to achieve their goals. Next one is 5 common leadership. Can you remember what are the 5 common problems?
Communication.
Yes.
Accountability.
Accountability. Accountability, someone?
Afraid to fire.
Yes, afraid to fire.
Nepotism.
Lack of
Awareness.
awareness, good.
Alignment.
Yes, good, all pass. Next one, to lead people, introduce a process approach. Remember the step process, and all the POLC come in. Motivating, influencing is another one. So can we read together the last slide?
Leaders must be close enough to relate to others,
but far enough ahead to motivate them. This is the management guru, John Maxwell. Thank you all very much.
I want to test that Fernando pay attention.
I was looking at her more than the slide. Right. The topic she was given, is it relevant to us?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Right? Because all the effective leadership. And the slides were all very well done, very neatly done. There's no cramming of the... It's quite neat. It's quite neat. I mean, the words are all, but for me, I would rather have bigger words, but in this way, it's good enough. Right? Can you see the words behind? Can, right?
Take one sheet.
The flow was very smooth. She was giving as she talked. The only thing I need you to do is you have the trigger. As you are talking on that point, push that show. Most of the time you are speaking on certain things, but you are not pointing that. That one would be good. So as you are speaking on the point, just point. That will be more effective. Okay. And very engaging. You ask questions all along, and you smile a lot. That's very pleasant. The growth part is only that part that you are planning. And towards the end, you will bring very fast because I think the time was quite, okay? You're rushing because of the time. That is understandable. On the whole, I think you did a good job and everybody remembers your points. Okay, good. And we will like you to come back next month. To talk about marriage or how to get the job in 9 months bonus, I think everyone wants to know where to find a job that gives 6 to 9 months bonus.
Yes.
Right? So on the whole, thank you very much, Jenny.
Alright, thank you Fernando for your feedback. So now